Grizz Nation, welcome back into another Grizz Game Day update. It is second half of a back-to-back tonight. We are right back at FedEx Forum tonight at 7 p.m. The Grizzlies will take on the Spurs. So joining me from San Antonio, I'm so excited for this one. Noah Magaro-George is a big friend of the show. Welcome back in. You ready to talk some basketball?
Yeah, I'm super excited to talk Spurs, Grizzlies. I think it's going to be a fun game. So let's just get right into it.
Let's get into it. Let's first, I think, start with injuries, because last night it was Ja was out, Steven was out, BC was out, and then of course Danny is still out. So BC and Danny's still out. And at this moment when we're filming, it is the morning, you can see the sun shining through. Ja and Steven are still both questionable, which sucks. But obviously the Grizzlies got it done last night. For the Spurs, is Devin out?
Devin's out. Yeah, Devin's been out for the last couple of days. The team announced that he's going to have arthroscopic surgery on his knee.
No.
So he's going to be done until after the All-Star break at the earliest. So
okay, well, that's
yeah, prayers out to him. Hope he recovers really quick. But yeah, he's not playing them.
Okay, that is a big bummer. I did not see that. So that does suck. And then Jakob Poeltl, Keldon Johnson, both questionable, I think.
Poeltl is probable, so he's going to play.
Okay.
And then Keldon's up in the air. He's still questionable, so we don't really know.
Okay, cool. So we'll find out closer to game time for all of those, but just if you're watching this early, that's a heads up for you. Last time these two teams played, it was November. So it was a very long time ago, and the teams look very different. At that point, the Grizzlies defense, Jaren wasn't here, honestly. And since Jaren has gotten back, the defense has shot up. They're leading the league in defensive rating right now. In that game, Ja and Dez both had 32 points, but then Devin and Jakob both had 22. It's like this Spurs team scores so much by committee. I saw their last game against the Spurs. There was 8 guys with double digits. Has that just kind of been all year? There's not like one guy, like they don't have like a Ja who puts up 50 points. They have like a whole bunch of guys that get like 18, 17, 12, 10. It's kind of hard to stop that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That's kind of what they do. They're an offense by committee, a lot of equal opportunity for guys. They're moving the ball. There's a lot of off-ball movement. There's a lot of screens. There's a lot of cuts. There's a lot of sharing of the ball. So yeah, whoever's open, that's who's going to take a shot. They don't have that one guy like a Ja who can just go get you a bucket on command, right? They don't have that, but they do have guys who, they enjoy sharing the ball. So, it's hard to stop that, but at the same time, they're not really that great of an offense. They're kind of just middle of the road.
Yeah. And I was looking at, their offensive rating right now is 27th in the league. Their defensive rating is dead last. The Grizzlies are first. So in terms of defense, when you're looking at today's game, the Grizzlies have been so good at stopping like the main guy on other teams. I'm curious how you think with the top defensive rating team in the Grizzlies, how that translates now. They kind of have to stop like everyone. And I do say like they've done such a good job at stopping like maybe the 1 and 2 guys on every team. And that's how they've kind of shot up. But there's no 1 or 2 guys on the Spurs now.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think it's going to be really tough for the Spurs to score like they like to. Like they love to get to the rim. They're one of the top 10 teams in drives per game. They love attacking the paint. They love that dribbled penetration and then kicking it out to 3. But with Jaren Jackson Jr. in there, who honestly, I think he should be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. He's so disruptive there. I think it's going to be hard for them to get all the way to the rim. So you're probably going to see a lot of floaters. And I think that, the Spurs just don't have a lot of like knockdown shooters, a lot of guys who are really proven. So I don't think you're going to see a lot of the Grizzlies defenders helping off on the perimeter to, stop drives. So I think it's going to be tough for the Spurs to score, but you know what? I say that and then they'll drop, like 130 points. So they've just been such a wild card from night to night. It's almost impossible to figure out who this team is and what they're going to do on a nightly basis.
Yeah, they're 22nd in the league in points per game. The Grizzlies are 9th. Another area the Grizzlies do so well in, Noah, is rebounds. And yes, offensive rebounding is where it's like their bread and butter, but defensive rebounding as well. They're second in the league in rebounds total. And obviously that has a lot to do with Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson Jr. That's an advantage that the Grizzlies have, having 2 huge humans down in the key. Steven Adams is questionable right now with a non-COVID related illness. He was out yesterday. We're not sure about him today. But how do they compete with 2 huge guys who are so prioritizing rebounds right now?
I think it all starts with Jakob Poeltl. we don't know if he's playing either, but if we assume he's playing, he's a really good rebounder. He's top 5 in the league in offensive rebounds per game. He's great at boxing out. And they have a lot of guys who are just like willing to do the dirty work. Like you don't think of Romeo Langford and think, oh, that's like a really sexy name. That's a guy who's going to make a difference in the game. But Romeo Langford is one of those guys who gets a ton of putbacks, who gets a lot of rebounds, and they do everything by committee, whether it's, scoring, rebounding, boxing out. It's going to be one of those games that I think they need everybody to get involved. And thankfully Pop seems to still have this team engaged. And so even though they're not really good, we talked about it, they're bottom in offense and defense. I still think that they're going to try really hard. We saw that against Boston. I think we're going to see that again against Memphis. It is on the road. The Spurs are a bad road team, but I think they're going to try. That's the one thing I can guarantee you every night is that the Spurs team, they're going to try.
Yeah, some fans want them to, some fans don't, but that's a discussion for another time. Romeo Langford, I mean, he had 14 points in the last game. He's one of those guys that can kind of creep up on you. My last question for you though is it kind of has to do with the same type of thing, but points in the paint. The Grizzlies have been eating up teams points in the paint. If you take away, I think maybe last night they were averaging like 30 more points in the paint than the other team. That's not an exact stat, so please do not stat me on that, but around that. And the Spurs allow their opponents the 3rd most points in the paint per game. Obviously, again, we don't know about Steven yet, and he is a big putback guy. And I guess Ja scores a lot in the paint. We don't know about him right now either, but driving, he leads the team obviously in driving and getting into the paint. That's dangerous for a team that allows so much.
That is dangerous. And it's so strange. You look at the San Antonio Spurs, like the rest of the league, at least most of the league, they operate with this philosophy called no middle. They don't want to give up middle. They'd rather force you to have to kick it back out or take a mid-range jumper. They don't want to give up middle. The Spurs are fine to give up middle. They give up the most, attempts at the rim and inside the paint of any team in the NBA. And I think that's mostly because they know that Jakob Poeltl is there to at least deter or block or alter a shot. He's really good at those weak side rotations, kind of covering for other players who've allowed those, dribble penetrations and drives. And I don't think it bodes well for them because as good as he is, he can't make up for everyone's mistakes. And the injury that he's dealing with right now, it's Achilles bursitis. That's painful. It's a nagging injury. It's one of those things that doesn't go away. So even if he plays, is he going to play half the game? Zach Collins is not the same level of rim protector he is either. So I don't see the Spurs defending the Grizzlies all that well if Ja is in the game. And obviously having Jaren Jackson and Desmond Bane and Dylan Brooks and Tyus, like they just have so many options that the Spurs don't. And I don't know. I just don't see them stopping that. It's just really tough. Like I love the Spurs. Yeah. I love watching this team. I love their effort and their grind, but
it's a tough matchup.
They're just overmatched. They're overmatched from a personnel standpoint.
But what they will bring is effort, and we love that. Okay, here's my very last question before we go. You cannot say the Jones brothers, and you must say someone who is absolutely playing. Give me one matchup you're looking forward to tonight.
Okay, I'm really looking forward to possibly Jeremy Sohan guarding Ja Morant. I know that sounds really strange because Trey Jones is the starting point guard, but Greg Popovich has really made an emphasis on trying to get him thrown into the fire. Just, hey, you're guarding Kawhi tonight. You're guarding Jason Tatum tonight. You're guarding Ja Morant tonight. And, there's been varying degrees of success, but you can see that idea that they fell in love with during the draft, where it's like this guy who can switch across positions, who can be kind of put on an island with smaller guards and still, move his feet and flip his hips. And I'm excited for that. Like I could see Ja Morant going off for like 40 or 30, but I could also see, Jeremy Sohan really frustrating him because he is one of those guys who gets under your skin. He's going to foul you, whether that's intentional or unintentional, but he's going to do everything he can to annoy you and get under your skin. And I think that's a lot of fun to watch. So that's one of those matchups that I'm really excited for because it is just such good experience for a rookie, a lottery pick. And who knows, maybe it'll help him down the line when the Spurs are competitive again, whenever that is.
What color is his hair right now?
It's, man, I don't want to sound mean. It's kind of like a Shrek green.
Like bright green. Okay. So, I like how he switches up. Noah, thank you again. And I guess we'll talk in 2 more days. We got the Spurs twice this week.
Yeah, back to back. Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me.
So fun. Okay, I will see you in a couple days, and I'll message you tonight because go Grizz and go Spurs. Grizzlies fans, if you are coming into the arena, make sure you get here nice and early. Be safe. Stay warm. It's a little chilly outside today. And if you're watching from home, you can watch it on Bally Sports Southeast and the Bally Sports Plus app.